What's up, everybody? We are Ufulu Child here, and I am Hortensia Tensi Campbell.
I'm Soul Expression. We are freedom seekers.
And we're excited to be here as well.
Yeah.
So today for Move Mondays, we are opening it up. So if anybody would like to get their wellness concerns or challenges answered at any time throughout this... What are you doing?
Sorry.
At any time throughout this, go ahead and place it in the comments, whatever your wellness concern or challenge is. Or if you know somebody and they're going through something, go ahead and put that in the comments as well, and we will do our best to address them as fully as we can on this platform. Yes. So let me go ahead and pull this up.
Hope you guys enjoyed your weekend. We sure did. Every day is, of course, a new opportunity. Every breath, for that matter, is a new opportunity. So, it's Monday again. You know, those of you who just made it home, you made it through. Good stuff. Do it again. And I'm gonna go ahead and
yeah. So weird. Okay,
pretty much get started. Cool. So, like we said, we are Ufulu Child. Move Mondays is where you can get your wellness concerns and questions and comments, for that matter, answered and talked about. And hopefully you'll leave today's Move Mondays session feeling very inspired, motivated, and in the mood to move. MUVE being MUVE, spelled with an acronym for moving to unite the virtue in everybody.
Yeah, so this is the movement. This is part of our movement campaign to unite everybody in wellness in this aspect of it as well. And speaking of the movement, I want to give a quick announcement that we do have a Patreon account and a campaign going on called The Movement. And if you'd like to support us in that way, you can definitely do that by joining our Patreon page. We'll put the link down below.
What's up, Offset?
Ooh, hey, how you doing? Okay, I'm pulling up on my laptop right now so I can see. Okay, watching videos on the big screen. Right on. Okay. All right. Go ahead and shout yourself out. Tell the people where you're from, who you be, what you do. If you're tuning in, go ahead and do that.
And if you have any wellness questions, concerns, or comments that you'd like us to love you too.
Yay, this is so cool.
Yeah. Then let us know. Today is a very, very free fall, free style episode of Move Mondays. It's not serious, although, you know, I do tend to get pretty serious once we get into speaking, of course. But
it's all love.
It's all love.
All gravy, baby.
As a matter of fact, I'll edit that. I'm very sincere. I never try to be too serious, but I am very sincere. So
right on. And keeping this in mind, so when people think wellness, they think of just the body and health. But when we are saying any wellness challenges, this is really in any area of life, because wellness, it can be, well, it's obviously beyond the body. It's emotional, it's spiritual, it's in your relationships, in your career, and whatever. It's holistic, it's everything, like 360. So anything that you have, we are definitely open to.
To receive and to comment on.
And I know that Aset, you have a lot of students that you're catering to. So if they have any questions, you can feel free to pose them as well. Right? Oh, all right.
So to start off, just thinking off the top, so to, as we say in my other in our other arena, which would be hip hop. Thinking off the top, I noticed that when I used to get very, very frustrated while holding my phone, whether I was scrolling through a social media account or trying to do something business-wise or trying to make a call, just a regular call or something like that, if my phone would mess up, I would be mad at the physical phone itself, when really whatever's happening on the screen usually has to do with like the service, or the like the service bars, or something internal that might not be something external that might not be in the physical phone itself. The wiring might be working just fine, but something might freeze up, something might close unexpectedly, and or if I'm on a call, if it drops or whatever. And we tend to get mad at the physical phone when the physical phone sometimes has nothing to do with whatever is going wrong. Thanks. Love what you guys are doing. Such an inspiration.
Oh, wait, do I have? I got beans in my teeth.
Beans are good. Beans. They're good for your heart.
I was eating some good jackfruit ranchero beans. Sorry, go on.
I was just waiting.
No.
So yeah. As we move throughout the day, think about and we get we find ourselves being frustrated. Think about how those things in our life that may affect how we feel, sometimes, especially if we make a mistake and that mistake is coming more from our conditioning and more from our habits that we were taught, and then we make the mistake and then we start to self-bash and we start to talk about ourselves, think about ourselves, and behave like we don't like ourselves and we don't love ourselves. But just like with the phone, a lot of times whatever is going wrong isn't necessarily going wrong. It's not anything that you're doing or anything wrong with you personally. Wow. And it has more to do with just what's going on in life, period. And it's definitely never a call to do the self-bashing and the self-hatred and things like that. You want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, everybody has their triggers and things that makes them upset in some way, whether that's like anxious or angry or whatever. And it's important in these moments to also take a step back and view it from a more objective viewpoint. Instead of identifying so strongly with whatever you think is triggered you, pull that back a little bit and be like, okay, wait, hold on. Bring it back to who you are. Okay, so I'm really not just this. This is not just alone going to define me. I don't need to put all of my energy and all of this importance and attachment onto this feeling right now. It doesn't need to be that way. You just create some space between the two. And in that space, you'll find some peace in the moment. And you'll be able to navigate more smoothly moving forward. Someone on here on one of the groups I'm in posted something. So leaving everybody anonymous, but she says, I need help and I'm not sure where to start. My depression and anxiety have gotten so bad that it's affecting my relationships with my teen kids, and I've lost 2 jobs as well. I've never taken meds for it and haven't been officially diagnosed, but it's obvious that I suffer. I don't have insurance and am on a very limited income. I know that I have a lot of damage/trauma to my psyche. I was sexually abused by my stepfather as a child, then was in an emotionally and psychologically abusive marriage for 20 years. She says I'm a mess, and that's all she says. So, yeah.
So I need help, and I'm not sure where to start. My depression and anxiety. Well, let's stop right there for a second. Let's look at that. My depression, my anxiety. Those words, we don't have to put so much trust in the thought that comes to mind, my depression. No matter how much it may show up, the feelings may intensify within. Whatever you gather in terms of what you gather from your environment, what you gather from moving through life, your experience, your history, whatever you gather, including bodily traumas, can be looked at as yours if you choose, but it can never be you. Let me say that again. What you gather can be yours, but can never be you. And so when we say things like we must carefully choose the words that come after my and I am and I feel, and begin to examine who is this I that we speak of. Because when it comes to anxiety and depression, and yes, I've been anxious and depressed in various severities throughout my history and my story, especially when I was identifying with my story more so than I was identifying with the present moment. There is a truth in the feeling I and in the word I, but everything that comes after I it may be true, but it's temporary. It may feel true, but it's temporary in nature and it's temporary in fact. And so we begin the healing process by looking at, okay, what exactly is affected by what I've called my depression and my anxiety and my sorrow and my history? What is it that is affected right now? And you begin to look for something that is real. And what you find most of the time immediately is you can't find anything that's real that's being affected by it. And what I mean by that is not you can't find anything in your memory. We're not dealing with memory. We're not dealing with past.
Or future projections either.
Yeah, or it'll come back tomorrow. I just know it. Has nothing to do with what I'm talking about right now when we begin to look within. If we look within, okay, I have a story for you. Someone went to a teacher and they were very depressed. I think their son had just died. Okay, and they went to the teacher and said, teacher, I need you to help me. My son has just died. My mind won't stop racing. My mind won't leave me alone with all of this sorrow and all of this hatred that I have for the world now that my son is gone. Can you help me? He said, can you pacify my mind? And he said, yes. Produce your mind for me, and I shall pacify it. And the man said, after a short pause, well, when I look for my mind, I can't find it. And the teacher said, there, it is pacified. Now that may sound very simple or
woo-woo or unachievable.
Woo-woo.
Yeah.
But for someone that is actually feeling these feelings, when they go to a teacher and they have an experience like this with someone who really does care and really does know the impact of realizing your freedom through and through, and they say that to them, usually something very good and very peaceful starts to blossom within the person that's going through its story. And it's just a small example to give more insight into what I was mentioning earlier. You want to add to it?
Yeah. So looking back at this, speaking on anxiety and depression and trauma specifically, damage and trauma to the psyche, emotionally and psychologically. After going through any form of abuse, whether it's physical abuse, emotional abuse, mental abuse, even spiritual abuse, you have these deep rooted viewpoints or expectations for how things will go in the future, that and their deep roots connected to these traumas in the past. So it's not to say that I mean people can recommend yoga and changing your diet and things like that, but this is a journey. And oh, hey, how you doing? Yeah, this is definitely a journey. So be gentle with yourself when dealing with trauma. Everything's in baby steps. Whenever you notice that you're being pulled by anxious feelings, or you're starting to feel the pull of depression, just take that moment. That moment right then. Don't wait. Take that moment right then. No matter what you're doing, pause and just start to peel back the layers. Okay, I'm just gonna set my thoughts aside for a moment. Whatever might be coming up, I'm just gonna let it be for a moment. I'm just gonna let my expectations for myself, for my family, for my career, whatever, for my income level, I'm gonna set that aside for a moment. I'm going to go ahead and set aside any emotions. Okay, they normally come up and I normally cling on. I normally let them control how I feel, but I'm gonna set those aside for now. In this moment, I'm gonna do the same thing with any physical pains that I'm feeling in my body. Just set that aside. Any ideas of myself in terms of my gender, in terms of my roles like mother, sister, daughter,
black, white, whatever.
Yeah, setting all of that aside. Stripping it all away. The personality, oh, I'm a good person, oh, I was so bad, or whatever. Just, that's all aside. And what is left?
And if I may add, when we put it to the side, we're not suppressing. We're not fighting every thought that comes up. We're not pushing against any pain, because honestly and actually, the pain that arises in and of itself, it only intensifies when we push back against it.
Exactly.
Only. There is no intensifying of what we call pain or any feeling without some type of resistance or some type of us raising it from the inside out. And so what she's talking about, we're going to set aside all these thoughts. They may show up, but we're not going to touch. We don't touch them.
Let them go for now.
Yes, we don't follow the trains of thought into nothing. And you begin to observe from the place that you actually are. And I say the you like that with the emphasis to really know that you are not your body. You are not your
emotions. You're not
emotions.
Your
you are
trauma.
not your story.
You're not your story.
And so another example that I came across was when there's a big storm, a big thunderstorm, windstorm, rainstorm going on in a movie. The screen never gets wet. When there's a big fire on TV, the screen doesn't burn. And so in life, what we're doing through our day-to-day experience is experiencing what some may call a full immersion movie, where it's still a movie, it's still a dream, so to speak, but it's like a full immersion, like a when you put on
Dynamic,
the big
like 4D,
yeah,
5D
or
something.
yeah, like 3D is what I mean. But I guess you know what I'm
Virtual
saying.
reality
Virtual
goggles.
reality. Thank you. When you put the virtual reality goggles on, and you fully immerse yourself, and it feels very real. That is essentially exactly what really happens in real life. And so, if when you're able to observe life from your true place, from your heart, is how I like to call it. You see the truth in the fact that when someone, I mean, when when you're underwater, when you're watching a movie and they go underwater in the movie, the screen does not get wet.
You're not underwater in your chair in the movie theater.
Right.
So that's that space that's created, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. You can think of it as you're looking at this screen. You know that no matter what I do to the camera, there's nothing that's going to come out of your computer or your phone or whatever and attack you and touch you. You can, in actuality, move through your own life in the same light, with the same inner knowing. And it's not something that the words that I'm speaking, the words that we're speaking, can really do full justice to, because it has to be experienced.
And discovered for yourself.
Exactly.
So when you do this, those moments of just pulling away the layers of your identity and just staying here and now in the present moment, you'll find peace in the storm. You'll find peace in the traumas and in the external movement of life. And with time, this is a journey, so with time and trusting yourself in this way, you'll be able to build up an intuition and move through life more fluidly, so that you're not so much living with any kind of fear for the future, for what will come, for well, you're not guided by it. You're not heavily affected by it. It may come up, but it's just a movement like all the other emotions. You're gonna have the ups and downs, but you'll have that space.
And so, I haven't taken meds or been officially diagnosed, it says, but it's obvious that I suffer. The I that suffers is not the true I in that statement. The I that suffers is the idea we have of ourselves, the idea that we place our identity and our importance on, that again is temporary.
And the more that I just want to add on to that real quick. The more that we attach ourselves to our idea of ourselves, our idea, our identity, and ignore the expansive, the infinite self that we are and have always been, then we'll continue to feel the brute of all of these challenges and traumas and things, and we'll continue to be bogged down until we decide to step into that which has always been, or realize that we've always been. Sorry, Carl.
And so, well, I'll say it again. So it says, I haven't been diagnosed, but it's obvious that I suffer. And I said that that's the I in that statement is what we choose to identify with as ourself. It's an idea we have of ourself that includes, like I said, pieces of our history, our body, of course, and the idea that we have for our future, what type of person what type of image we want to send to the world, what type of image of the world we keep inside or we think about at any given time. All of that is, like I said, it's temporary. And so if the feelings of depression were actually you, they would have been here at birth and they would be here after death. But they are not, because when it comes to depression, no matter how intense it is, you will be distracted from it, so to speak, but you will live outside of your depression, my depression, at multiple times throughout every day of your life, no matter how depressed you are, unless you're just in a cage. And even in that situation, everything physical, everything mental, everything emotional is going to, it comes, and therefore it will go. But there is something, a presence felt experientially within and all around, that is you, that never came and that will never go. And if this feeling of anxiety that comes from the environment, that, I'm not able to pay my bill, I'm not able to afford health care, I don't have insurance and things like that, you wouldn't be here until that got here, if that was really you. When those feelings and those thoughts leave when you go to sleep at night, if that were you, you would leave when you went to sleep at night, but you don't. And so, very simple and not insensitive, just very real to what's going on in right now. We must begin to examine how we view ourselves, and not identify with I suffer, and that's me that's suffering. Something is suffering. Something is giving the impression within of a sufferer, but that is seen from the you that is unmoving, that doesn't move, that doesn't come and go. Did you want to add to that?
I wanted to say that there are, so someone can be incarcerated, they could be in a homeless shelter or on the street, but yet they could still experience a complete bliss and just gratitude and feeling of feeling free. So then that makes you question if freedom or happiness is truly rooted in a certain physical, external thing, if it's dependent on that. And when you really look and see for yourself, you'll find that it's not. So you'll find people that have a mansion, billions of dollars, they have the family they've always wanted and things like that. But they may not feel free.
Shout out to Robin Williams. Shout out to people that have a similar story. The family member, not the family member, the person that ends up taking their own life, and their whole family is like, they smiled all the time. I don't get it. They never showed any signs of this, and that. So, whatever feelings we have, whatever feelings that intensify within us, always stem back to identity. I, what we call I, when we say I feel, I am this and that, is the mother of all thought, and definitely the mother and father of all self-thought. Because whether I see something that's happening on the outside, I feel something happening on the inside, or I am something in my idea that I have of myself, it all starts with I. I comes before all of that. In our holy books, God says I. The devil says I. The angels say I. The man that follows God says I. The non-believer says I. All comes after presence. All experience comes after presence.
is arising out of is presence.
I wouldn't say it is presence though. I would say it comes after, because presence has to be here for the experiencer to exist.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
So with things like anxiety and depression, you can do everything from having a vegan diet. You could be raw vegan, eating a ton of B vitamins and C vitamins, drinking alkaline water, going on juice fasts. You can visualize and meditate and do all of these spiritual practices. You can do yoga, Kemetic yoga, whatever else. But what we've been talking about is the root of everything, because if you don't come to that understanding of yourself in the greater sense, then you'll continue to come back to these moments of conflict, and you won't be able to detach from it. You won't be able to move through it as effectively. Yeah.
You won't see the truth of the matter, which is that it's happening on the screen, but it's not happening to you, from the earlier example.
So that's where the suffering will be felt here and there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all these other practices are here to support, but the root of everything is that knowing, that discovery. And then everything, all the other tools like yoga, like plant-based eating and fasting, etc., meditation, those are like sprinkles, and they support the experience. They're not crucial in terms of they're not required, and shame is definitely not a something that will take you further in happiness.
Mm-hmm.
But all these hardships are also great tools to help show you, okay, so all that didn't work, now it's time to come back to center, to nudge you into yourself, living yourself, your truth fully,
right,
feeling free to be.
And that speaks to what we said earlier about not trying to suppress what shows up in the inner space or in the outer environment, because it has to show up. It is a part of the game when we speak of life as a game. And so, as the Buddha once said, Gautama, however you want to pronounce his name, he said, struggle is inevitable, yet suffering is a choice. And that means when you identify as the sufferer, as this is happening to me, this outside or this inside feel is happening to me, when you identify with that, then you are choosing to play the role of the sufferer when you don't necessarily have to do so. And it's not about, as soon as a bad feeling comes up, I'm gonna make it stop. You have you have some, but you have very limited powers in that regard, and so there's no need to try and build up so much spiritual muscle and emotional muscle to suppress what shows up. You notice it showing up, but then you also notice that you are noticing it showing up, and you keep your attention on the observer, on the witness. And you don't even identify with the witness, but you keep your attention as the witness. You keep your eyes looking out from the heart and not from the mind, and not from the identity, the false identity that we tend to. And all healing, or a way to heal from all things, starts right there.
Starts right here.
Right, starts right here, right now.
Wherever you are.
And the mind is very crafty and cunning when it comes to beginning to really observe the truth of the situation and the truth behind knowing who you truly are, because we've grown up identified with this false identity for so long, it doesn't really want to go anywhere. But you stay, if the desire is to be free from what we call my depression, my anxiety, my trauma, then there must be initially a little striving to just keep the attention, like I said, on looking out from the heart, not the mind, not the idea I have of myself. And that's where the healing starts. So
brilliant.
if there's any more Sitara, shout out Sitara Love says, grow through it. Yes, thank you. I'm writing a book about trauma. Nice.
Hey, let us know.
Drop a link if you may.
Yeah, go ahead and share it.
And she says you are right. Thank you. That feels good. We don't want to be right, though. We want to point. We don't want to teach. We want to point so that you discover for yourself. We don't want to teach you so you learn and memorize. And no.
It's not an intellectual thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's experiential, or else it won't stick. You know?
It won't. Yeah, it won't be real for you if it's not. Excuse me. It won't be real to you if it's not real for you.
Right on.
I just made that up. I hope y'all like that.
No.
I think I made that up. I don't remember hearing or seeing that earlier.
I sure don't, but right on. So, looking to see if anybody sent in any questions. Anyone out there have any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments. Let us know who you are and where you're from, you know.
And it's no problem if there's no more wellness concerns or questions. I think this was a very impactful episode of Move Mondays already, and it doesn't need to necessarily be dragged on. We are here for and with you, not just trying to just be talking and providing a whole lot of info. We are going to add on to what she said about plant-based diet. Well, she said vegan diet, but it really, plant-based diet, it's the same thing. Because that's very important. So if there's...
I don't see anything on Instagram.
No. Okay.
So, with that being said...
So some remedies. If I can start the remedies off. The first set of remedies that we cover is called mindful remedies. And mindful remedies doesn't necessarily mean remedies that you can only do mentally, but more remedies that will purify and help cleanse the clutter that tends to build up in the mind. And when it comes to identifying with the suffering and the sufferer, and that this is happening to me, the greatest mindful remedy that I know of is connected to meditation, but it's called self-inquiry. I was officially introduced to it in terms of the name self-inquiry by a guru named Muji, and it, without going into his whole invitation process, it's a way to view what is real about who I truly am right now. There's a story he often repeats about one of the Hindu deities, Krishna, being in the middle of a battlefield, and his army was getting ready to fight an army full of people that he knew and loved. He did not want to participate in this war, and in the middle of the battlefield, he was able to have an intimate conversation, short but insightful conversation about the truth with someone on the opposite, someone on the opposite side. And that goes to show that no matter what is happening out here, whether it's, like she said, physical pain or just a lot of inner space intensity that may show up at any given time, no matter what is happening, inner space, outer environment, you have the power of discernment and attention to look from the heart. And so self-inquiry basically addresses, okay, right now, who am I first?
Muji shout out right on. Hey. Change
Yeah.
our you know.
Okay. Who right now, right here in time, right now, who am I? And from there, we drop any concept that we might have that deals with the idea we have of ourselves. Whether it's, like we said earlier, I'm a good person, I am 27 years old, I am such and such and so and so, I'm black, I'm revolutionary, I'm strong, all of these things, good, bad, indifferent, we drop them, we move them to the side. And by drop, it doesn't mean suppress. It literally means drop. Let it go.
Don't attach.
Don't attach. Don't follow. And who am I? You start by aligning your attention with turning your eyes 180. Okay, turning your attention. Who am I right now, right here?
So close your eyes and actually question, experience what is happening inside.
Yeah, closing your eyes helps.
It helps.
But
you
you
don't
can,
have to, but...
yeah. Because anyway, so, and from there, you can ask yourself a set of questions. When you figure out who am I without my name, without my history, without my family, all of these things, who is left, and you look, and you see that there's nothing physical, there's nothing tangible to look at, to listen to sense. And in that sort of something nothingness, there also is no suffering. There also is no confusion. Okay? And so that's I think the most beautiful, the most simple, mindful remedy when it comes to falsely identifying with the sufferer.
I think the hardest thing, the times when people encounter challenge in this process, is when they're not quite ready to be so open with this new viewpoint of self, which is fine. Everything in time, and it might not be your time to come to this perspective of things, but
we encourage. We don't discourage. Yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
Process. I mean, although when you do experience for yourself, there's this peace, this boundless, undefinable whatever that
there's something
exists,
nothingness. Yeah,
that is you. And in that space, when you're making decisions, when you're moving out of that space of yourself, then that's when you're not rushing, you're not prematurely doing things, you're not anxious. I almost dropped the laptop. You're not anxious in this space. You're not depressed. You're not sad. You're not overly excited or wired. You chilling.
You are this space,
and you are the space.
And so you remain empty. You remain empty, and you keep your attention from the heart out. And there are some other remedies as well. I guess I'll let you take the dietary remedies. We have some dietary remedy suggestions.
So in terms of dietary things that help support, definitely incorporating more raw, fresh,
organic
Yeah, non-GMO as well.
Non-GMO.
Leafy greens and organic, non-GMO, fresh raw fruits, produce. Not so much a ton of starchy vegetables and things like that, but that's cool. Just incorporate.
Extra mac and cheese does not count.
It does not. So incorporate more raw veg and raw vegetables like leafy greens especially, and fruits. They are rich in B vitamins and vitamin C, in addition to a ton of minerals. In addition to this, there are seed vegetables. Irish sea moss is really great for you. Spirulina is also really great for you. It's a sea vegetable, like algae. It comes in, like, you can get it as a supplement or whatever. Moringa is great. In terms of foods, it's best to allow the food to digest fully, so that the healing mechanism, digestion, so the healing mechanisms,
yeah, and get your fiber too
within your body can work through. And yeah, when you afford that space in between things, you are there's this healing aspect that it brings up stuff that you may not have dealt with before, that you need to deal with in this moment, and that is beautiful as well. For healing and growth and living in your truth, there are these things that will pull at you from your past, like your traumas and the bag lady Erica Badu bags, of things that you just carried with you throughout the years, and these tools will help
cleanse all of that out
and help support the clarity of the self-inquiry.
Yeah, because there's a huge connection between clogged pipes within the body and clogged pipes within the mind or the thinking. I actually see Sitara has a couple more comments here. Shout out Sitara Love, giving us all the love.
Oh, that
she started a couple months back listening to Muji, changed her life. Yeah, I got this. I have YouTube channels to. Okay.
Where?
Okay, drop that. Drop
the
that.
link, to
nice.
YouTube,
Have you found with inquiry sometimes there is confusion at first? So
I think we addressed that.
So, well.
If we didn't, let us know.
No, we didn't address this. No. There is a sense, and this is so okay. I am not claiming to be anybody, and once again, we are not claiming to try and attempt to teach anything. But in response to this, there may be an arising of what we call confusion. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. And we are able to use our powers of discernment and attention to once again be able to see, even if it comes up a little too fast to see it at first. Once you're able to, we are able to see that I'm confused. I don't know what to do next. I don't know what to... All of these things are feelings and thoughts, and sometimes a combination of the two. They show up, and they are observed from who you really are. They are observed in the awareness, as he likes to put it, in the pure awareness. They just show up, just like a car goes down the highway, and you can't necessarily touch it. It just goes, and you see it, and then you don't see it anymore, and that was that. A cloud passing in the sky, same scenario. The sun passing in the sky, same scenario. It comes, there's a duration of it coming, and it leaves. You are there before it comes, you are there when it comes, during the duration of what it's doing, and you are there after it leaves, and you don't leave when the feelings of confusion leave. You remain, and therefore you are not experiencing confusion. You are watching an idea you may have of yourself, experiencing a confusion. And I encourage that you just watch his stuff a bunch of times. Just
keep observing yourself as well,
and keep the attention from the heart looking out.
I have spirulina and tabs. Have you had any issues when you take it? It is vegan.
It's very vegan.
So with spirulina and things like that, we mainly put it in smoothies and things of that nature. Or if I make like overnight oats where it's just like soaked raw seeds and things like that, I'll add spirulina and moringa and dates and things because they have a magnesium things. Other than that, let me know if we answered your question. In terms of the dietary thing, I think that the medicinal herbs is related. So
yes.
In addition to like pausing between meals, we also do juice fasts and water fasts. We're actually going to start our next one tomorrow.
For the next 3.5, 4 days, 3 complete days, and into the 4th day, we will be participating in a juice fast. I think on the 2nd day, I might just not eat anything. It depends. Not eat or drink anything. We do heavily encourage and say that you must not only do your own research on fasting and not just take someone else's word for it, but also on the side of doing your own research, listen to your body and listen to and it gets a little complicated because I know sometimes the mind will lie to us, okay? But in terms of, it'll lie to us in terms of how much you can take, and sometimes you just got to push through and be strong. But a lot of times, when you try to play the tough guy act, you might end up hurting yourself. So when it comes to fasting, we took it slow to get to where we are. We fast about 3 times a month now, so take it slow, baby steps. First, we went from a heavily kind of starchy vegetarianness to a more holistically vegetarian veganness to vegan to juice fast to stuff like that.
Little water fast.
And even a couple dry fasts sprinkled in there. But there's no need to rush. There's no need to hurt yourself in pursuit of cleansing and healing yourself. It's a little counterproductive.
One thing I want to say.
Yeah, I'm done.
For people that have any diagnosed conditions affecting their health or things like that, especially if you're taking any medication or insulin or if you have diabetes, you need to consult with your physician to make sure that you're not raising your blood sugar up or too low, because certain herbs replace certain blood sugar lowering medications. So you need to check out side effects of your medications and how they interact with different herbs. If you're drinking herb teas, medicinal herb teas, like yellow dock, whatever it is, blue vervain, blah, 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 blah. And if you have any allergies, definitely consider that too. Any allergies to medicines, figure out why you're allergic to them. Dabble.
If you're prenatal, research what's going on with that. Talk to your physician about that. There's a lot that you... It's not complicated, but there are a lot of little checklist items that you want to definitely check off before you jump into something like a fast.
And this varies depending on the person. Yeah. So if you are in a space where you're walking in your truth so fully that you've never had to really go to a doctor or blah 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 or whatever kind of circumstance, if you're really in tune with your body and you can go inside and see exactly what's wrong and exactly what you need, ride with that.
my phone battery.
Oh, hey,
So-
hey Nelly, how you doing?
Oh, that's
Go ahead
she's
and
from
say.
Delaware. That's a friend.
Oh,
What's
I was
up,
about
Nelly?
to say where you from. Blah, blah.
Actually,
See, I'm from Texas.
these comments just piled up. Okay, so let's see. Juice fast. What kind of juice fast? We will be doing.
We freshly make our juices.
Yeah, so we do a lot of watermelon juice, and we'll put
Watermelon
in the
ginger.
watermelon ginger. We might put some of the spirulina, the moringa, the things that uh, um, the things that aid in cleansing into whether it's a juice or if we do
smoothies.
Yeah, smoothies at night, stuff like that.
For the juices, we mainly keep it simple. Go ahead and get your charger.
Yeah, but no super specific exact juice fast where we're gonna do this on Monday and this on Tuesday.
Yeah, no,
it's
not
very very not sporadic, but spontaneous. Very spontaneous. Very listen to your body and find out what's up. So okay.
Fast already. She does a half a day.
Fast 3 times a week. Okay, that'll aid in your digestive systems.
Intermittent
a whole lot.
fasting. I see you.
So 8 to 12, 3 days a week. I'm sitting on this side, so it makes sense.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna go get your charger.
Yeah, it makes sense.
All right, prana practitioner, right on. Okay, on the teas. So with these teas, these are not in a bag. They're not tea bags. They're loose herbs that you buy organic or wild crafted, and you brew them yourself. And when you do so, there's a certain intention that you put behind it. Some gratitude. You put love into the teas, and then when you drink them, it's a whole process. It's beautiful though. Hey attorney, hey. Okay, please stop.
So.
Everybody's here. Oh my gosh, go ahead and say where you're from. Who
Yeah,
you are.
yeah. Shout yourself out, man.
Shout yourself out.
This is our first time dealing with this many comments on Move Monday episode. I hope you guys saw a lot of it, and because we were going in earlier.
We'll definitely post the replay later.
Yeah. So you can check it out. You can skip through it. You don't have, stuff like that.
Okay, we got a question on where we get the kinds of teas to make. So there are plenty of online stores. Oftentimes community gardens, even though they might have organic, non-GMO produce, depending on the community garden, they don't have none of the medicinal teas that are alkaline and non-hybrid that we partake of.
Yeah, so you might want to start online.
Yes.
Online. We started out doing, like, before we jumped into some of our practices, we spent a couple weeks per practice, per each new thing that we started to do, and said, okay, we're gonna do this probably from now on, or for the time being. We spent a couple weeks researching online because information is there now. You know what I'm saying? If I can speak so loosely. So we spent some weeks researching what to do, what not to do, what to look for, what certain bodily reactions actually mean, what certain,
for us.
Whether, right. And stuff like that. So be, like you said, baby steps are essential. You don't want to kill yourself while you're trying to heal yourself.
Don't
okay?
Kill yourself. You're trying to heal yourself.
Okay. Let's get back to these comments. So, you're gonna go back and listen. Okay, go back and listen. I appreciate that, and I love you for that. Thank you so much. Satara's been showing love the whole episode, pretty much. So, okay, I'm trying to go 80% raw now. I just started this week while doing a black walnut woodworm cleanse.
Word.
My dreams been crazy vivid. Yeah, I'm sure. Now with dreams, dreams is funny with dreams. So when you wake up and you remember very vivid dreams, it could mean one of two things. One, some mental cleansing might need to you might need to intentionally do some mental cleansing, no matter if dreams are beautiful, ugly, or neutral, or a mixture of any of those three, because when you are very, very clean in terms of your body and your self-thinking and your self-talk and things like that, sometimes you maybe stop dreaming so much. But also, dreams could mean that the universe and the vital force for life to exist is sending you some type of message. And there's a lot of false information when it comes to dream interpretation and stuff like that. So that's another opportunity to really
self-reflect.
Reflect. Yes, thank you. But I love dreams. I love dreams. I'm having not a spell right now, but I recently had a couple very vivid, very weird, honestly, dreams myself as me and Tensi we further our journey, on being super clean, so to speak.
I want to say that with everything, whether it's dreams, whatever, there's the point where you just let them come and go as well. Mm-hmm. And sometimes when you put so much attachment onto them as well, you just kind of like create this whole extraness, and you don't need all that extra.
Yeah.
Simplify your life. Come back to center.
Certified gateway dreamer. I don't even know what a gateway dreamer is. Shout out to Sitara again. Gateway dreamer. That's nice. Follow
always.
Astral travel. Astral projection and astral travel is you're not sleeping when you do that. So with astral projection, you're fully awake. You're conscious. You're just not in the flesh. Your idea of your flesh usually remains, but not fully intact, because you're not in the physical, let's say, very slowly changing or unchanging body. And so when you look into a mirror, if you're astral projecting or astral traveling, you might see something that halfway looks like you and halfway doesn't. But what do you keep what's up?
I just wanted to say, well, thought you were going to finish your thought, but I wanted to say, with all these things, they're great experiences, awesome, boom, pow, pow. Also, don't let them distract you from that work of introspection, because they can easily do that, no matter what it is. Whether it's, I gotta go raw, I gotta do this juice fast, etc., etc.
I have to meditate 17 hours a day.
All this extra is great. There's a point. Don't let it distract you from coming back to self and doing that internal recognition, that true self-discovery. Yeah. Because really all of that is temporary as well.
If I can add to that,
identity.
The practicing of whether it's lucid dream, astral travel, astral projection, remote viewing, telekinesis, telepathy, talking with animals and plants that don't speak English. All of these things are great powers of the mind. And they can be exercised, they can be used for great things, they can be used for not so great things in certain circles. And that's what's up. But we want to keep in mind that the mind itself, everything that you can do in terms of powers of the mind itself is a very small aspect of the all, of pure awareness, of pure existence, and the universal consciousness that life comes through and exists through. The mind, the mind is one thing, and then there's some other things that I don't necessarily want to go into, because, like I said, the words is not where it's at. And if you listen with an open heart, you'll definitely be able to pick up on quickly what I'm getting at. Is all of these things are great, and they're great, let's say, for the individual, and some individuals can use these great things to help the community and to help even the greater community. But in terms of something that is universal, who am I? And like I said, the presence, the feeling of I am is universal every period. And so the work of living in total freedom, in ultimate freedom, some call it, begins at the same place for everybody, for every saint, for every sage. They all began noticing that whatever comes up in life, whatever they participate in, whatever they see, hear, smell, sense, all happens in front of what I call the witness, which is sort of, that presence that you can't really name, that doesn't change, that doesn't move, that was here for your body, before your body got here, excuse me. When you wake up in the morning, you can watch your consciousness start to grow into your what we call the waking state. Something is there to watch that process, and it feels experientially like you, like me, like this is me. I'm watching it. Even some people on their deathbed, before they fully transcend, they say things like, I can see my consciousness fading. Who is it that watches consciousness fade away? That beingness is much vaster than any powers of the mind. Not that, like you said, those things are great and very impressive and phenomenal, but all phenomena are temporary. You are not. That's what I had to say about that.
You, in the truest sense,
yeah,
is not temporary. Before we address anything else, so Move Mondays is a wellness Q&A. Wellness reaches every aspect of your life. It's a 360 type of thing, beyond just your physical body or your emotions or your thoughts. In this wellness Q&A, the root of wellness is coming back to center, coming back to that realization of self in the truest form. And with that comes your own freedom. So all these things that we do in this dynamic existence are often rooted in our identities, or our ideas of who we are. And that's great up to a point, but where freedom lies is beyond that.
There was a story that I heard while I was looking. I was on YouTube, and I heard a story about a man who said he had that God was his friend, that he always played with God. You good. And he made it his business to surrender to God and all of these things, and God became his friend. And he met, and but sorry, I'm remembering the story as I'm starting to tell it. So he met a teacher because he was still seeking freedom from suffering as a whole, and what he would talk to God about was usually along those lines. And he met a teacher that he really thought could do so. And so one day the teacher saw him as he came around the side of a mountain, and the teacher asked him, "Hey, what were you doing?" And he said, well, I was on the mountain and I was playing with God. And he said, "Oh, okay, that's really great." And he asked him, "Do you see him now?" And he said, "No." And he said, "Well, then obviously that was not God. And why was he able to say this?" And he followed his statement up with, "What good is a God that comes and goes? What do you say? What you are doing when you say, 'I play with God,' is you're not recognizing, or 'I see God,' is you are not recognizing God is the only one that sees." And I had to sit with that for a couple days before I really think that I understood what was being said. It's not that, oh, the God that you believe in doesn't exist. No, it exists in your mind. It exists in your mind. Everything that you sense, all the senses report to the mind. See, smell, taste, touch, sixth sense reports to the mind. But the mind exists in the pure awareness. And the pure awareness, when you when you set aside and look past the mind, there is still a presence that this is, I am here. I am here now. That is who you are. I'm not going to say that is God because I don't want to. It's just because words don't really do it. They just don't do it.
They won't do it ever.
Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you for them hearts.
One story was like, is the experience of a raindrop when it's falling down toward the ocean, and it's all like, is it ever thinking, oh my gosh, what is happening? And then, oh, I'm so anxious, what's gonna happen to me? Splash.
And, oh, me.
Is it still swimming? Is the raindrop still swimming in the ocean, or is it now the ocean? Like with all the rivers running into the ocean, are they still rivers? Are you bound? Are you still your body when you come to that point of self-discovery of your true self, of that awareness?
Mm-hmm.
You're like the raindrop, but it's really the ocean. I'm about to knock stuff.
Check the comments again. So journaling is awesome. Just
not required.
Yeah, it's super awesome.
It's pleasant.
Mind is so small looking at the bigger picture. Yeah, who hides behind the eyes that see the bigger picture? Sacred Geometry live feed.
Oh, are you asking for that? Because he does sacred geometry.
I can. That's scary. Okay, I mean,
one day.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like I don't want anybody to get bored, but I don't know. Okay, yeah, Sacred Geometry live feed sounds fun actually, but it's a little scary to my mind.
That new one. Go ahead and scroll down.
Namaste. Love you guys so much.
This is beautiful.
Check y'all out every Monday. Do that.
Oh, we have a Facebook group. It's called
Freedom Seeker
Journey Worldwide.
Freedom Seeker Journey Worldwide. So join that.
Share. We do stuff like that in the group. So go ahead and join that Shino Boop Bop.
I'm working on. Okay, good. Okay, cool. And much encouragement to you, and grace to your journey on drawing sacred geometry. I stare at my drawings sometimes for like 20 minutes on end and just receive from them. Whatever grace that happened to flow through me onto the piece of paper. Also, as a matter of fact, y'all were talking about Egypt. Look at this.
Oh yeah, that's the Kemetic calendar.
Okay.
One of the most ancient ways.
Yeah, one of the oldest calendars.
Time, I guess.
Yeah. Well, recording, I guess.
Recording, days, months, astrology.
And astrology, yeah. Astrology is all through there. I don't know if you can see, but there's a bunch of the older depictions, the Kemetic depictions of what the zodiacs look like. I didn't draw or paint that. That's a lot
Shout
older
out
than
to
any
my
of us
grandma
watching this video.
For visiting Egypt and purchasing it back in the 70s. I appreciate you, Grandma.
Shout out Grandma Curly.
Right on.
And
that's all,
man.
That's all we got. Unless you have any questions.
Any burning questions that you may want us to address?
What is this? Oh, see, when I click on stuff, it just goes haywire. Okay. No, that's it. All right.
So, if you guys do know, or if you don't know, and we're gonna leave some space for them to actually do it this time. We have a manifesto that goes with our title as Freedom Seekers, and welcome to the Freedom Seeker community. And we're gonna go ahead and recite that. So please repeat after us. I
create. Let's do it together.
Okay. I create my own well-being. I define my own destiny. I live for freedom. Because I am free to be. And that makes us freedom seekers. And that makes you a freedom seeker.
We love you. Before we go, if you want email shout outs from us or email updates, you can go to our website to join the VIP list.
www.ufuluchild.com.
And you'll find all these links from there. We'll have the episode breakdown to this live stream and last week's live stream up on the website within the next couple of days, definitely, on our blog up there.
And you'll get the newsletter to either tomorrow or the next day as well.
If you're on the VIP list.
Exclusive. No, I'm just kidding.
And we are Ufulu Child. We are a home for freedom seekers worldwide, rooted in artistry and wellness. And we love you. And go ahead and feel free to do your thing.
Peace.
Get up, everybody move.